Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another episode of Kashmir 360 Degrees. The guest that we have with us today is very special for the Kashmir Rally and for the rest of India as an inspirational Muslim. Khwaja Farooq Renzushah is the founder of Kashmir Sufism Society, directly descending from the family line of Kashmiri King Renzushah. Mr. Farooq has authored 11 books on Sufism, and one of his books, Sufi Mankabat, has received several national and international awards. Welcome to our show.
Thank you very much, Jana.
For several decades, there has been diligent warfare to replace Kashmir's ethnic cultures like Shaivism and Sufism with radical Islamism. So can you shed some light on how Sufism has always been under threat, and how is it different from other branches of Islam?
See, I tell you one thing. First, one should understand Kashmir in totality. And Kashmir in totality, not for last few years, 10 years or 20 years. Kashmir for thousands of years. From the time when it emerged from the Tathai Sea, when it was a water body, all. And there was an engineering, spiritual engineering, which is the mythology of Shaivism also. Spiritual engineering, that there was an exodus of the water, water levels came down, the human starts coming up. So from there till today when I'm talking to you, it remains always an ideological place, a place of thought, place of knowledge. When Hindus came, now when we see the documented history, when we see the Hindus came, he himself is writing, he came from the China, he is writing that I was in search of the quality education, and that quality education was in Kashmir. So when we talk about those thoughts, when there was a Buddhist thought, when the first conference was held, Buddhist conference, it was fourth Buddhist conference in the world. Fourth Buddhist conference in the world was held in Harvard. And I have accompanied Dalai Lama there, which he himself told me, I have a record. Himself, Dalai Lama told me that as Kaaba is to the Muslims, same is the Harvard site for us. So these were always spiritual, and when you talk there, the echo in the valley is itself a spiritual. So spirituality, which our religious thoughts came and made Kashmir its abode, were based on knowledge and meditations and merging with the nature. Merging with the nature, beauty of the nature. Now coming to the era when 1321, when Bulbul Shah came, he was the first man. Bulbul Shah came, and when Bulbul Shah came to Kashmir, he came not with a radical thought. He never came with a thought to behead Hindus like Aurangzeb's thought. It was not a Changezi thought. It was a thought of discussing the knowledge with Kashmir. And the king of Kashmir, who at the time, Sadruddin Renzushah, he was at that time also a very scholarly king, very scholarly. And it was the blessing of the spiritual blessing under that king, the Buddhist forces, Hindu forces, and Neo-Muslim forces, they joined hands and defeated Zulqadar Khan from Mongol, the grandson of Halaku Khan, who destroyed the Baghdad. The Zulqadar Khan had come to Kashmir, created mayhem, raped women of Kashmir, burned the city. Srinagar was burnt by Zulqadar Khan. So when all the forces joined together, Hindu force, Buddhist force, and Neo-Muslim force, under the command of the king who was himself a Buddhist. See how Islam emerged in Kashmir. He was himself a Buddhist king. And Buddhist king accepted Islam. Which Islam? A Sufi Islam from Bulbul Shah.
Right.
And then the wife was Kotarani,
Okay.
last Hindu queen
Right.
and Rishi queen. She was the Rishi queen. She told Bulbul Shah that I want to retain my Rishiyat.
Yes.
And Bulbul Shah told her, Kotarani, you retain your Rishiyat. It is during her era that Laldat was born, when she milked the Sheikhul Alam. It is that era. Unless you understand this knowledge of Kashmir,
So what you're trying to say is,
the milk
Yes.
of Kashmir is
yes,
of all thoughts.
yes.
It is not of one
So
thought.
it's in our bloodline, in the
It's our bloodline.
of Kashmiris, the kind of Islam that came from Bulbul Shah, which is Sufi Islam.
Yeah.
How is that different from, so what you're saying is it's different from other branches of Islam because it focuses more on spiritualism than any kind of radicalism, and a lot of tolerance is exhibited by Sufi Islam. And but can you explain why and how it's been under threat, not just in Kashmir, but in the whole of, the world?
Yeah.
Because from what I see it and from what the world sees it, that radical Islamists look at Sufi Islam as yet another imminent threat to Islam, just like Shiism, just like Ahmadiyyas, just like Hazaras, just like Quranis. Even the Sufis are looked upon as wajibul qatl, or those who need to be persecuted.
This is the one of the intelligent question so far asked on this topic, and very super sensitive question.
Yes.
Sufi Islam is a tasawwuf. It's a word tasawwuf.
Okay.
And when you read a Quran Sharif, Quran Sharif is book of tasawwuf.
Okay.
In Quran Sharif, there is when Musa was told, it is written in Quran, when Musa was told, Musa was the prophet.
Right.
Musa was the prophet.
Yes.
Moses.
Yes.
He was the prophet. And it is written in Quran Sharif. Musa, when he was in search of knowledge to Allah, Allah told him, go and search Khwaja Khazar. Khwaja Khazar. Who was Khwaja Khazar? Khwaja Khazar was man of knowledge, man of love, man of brotherhood, man of all spiritual qualities, which even prophet of the time was told to go to him. And he had no designation. Khwaja Khazar had no designation. Whereas Musa had a designation to be the prophet.
Yes.
So, Hazrat Ibrahim, who was Hazrat Ibrahim? Now, Ibrahim, we called him Ibrahim.
Yes.
Christians called him Abraham.
Abraham. Yeah.
Abraham.
Yeah.
So, there is no difference between
Abraham and Ibrahim.
Ibrahim and Ibrahim. Now, this is, they called him, we called him Hazrat Isa.
Yeah, that's
They called
Jesus
him
Christ.
Jesus.
Right.
So, point is, our religion, our prophet himself actually meditated in Gari Hira.
Yes.
It was a
Mount
meditation.
Hira. Yeah.
It was a meditation. So, it was a tasawwuf.
Yes.
Now, your question,
Yes.
a very super intelligent question you have asked. I honestly speaking, Jana.
Thank you.
So many people, anchors discuss, but they don't themselves know. They have not researched.
Yes.
So they don't know why lies the problem.
Yes.
Why presently new thoughts have emerged. Are they threat to Islam or tasawwuf threat to Islam? They are the threat to Islam. And it has emerged immediately after Prophet Muhammad left this world. After that, in Damascus, a group has emerged of the group which dynasty, of that dynasty of which Yazid was the member. Yazid was the member.
Yazid, yes.
Yazid was the first threat to Islam.
Absolutely. The one who
One can't say. Now,
who killed Imam Hussein.
Imam Hussein.
Yes.
Now, Yazid's perception are those they ruled 80 years and commanded Islam. They, during that period, they wrote such quotes, you called it hadith, which were not existing at all.
Are you saying that Yazid have written the hadith?
Not Yazid. I'm telling you that dynasty 80 years.
Okay.
80 years, those scholars who have been told to make Islam radical were different from the period.
From the original form.
The original Islam.
Right.
Tasawwuf is the original Islam.
Right.
Which is based on love.
Right.
Which is based on brotherhood. Which is our Prophet was a symbol of peace.
Right.
He has never carried a sword in his hand. Nobody is hurt because he was always defensive.
Yes.
He was always defensive.
But the radicals always present Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a warrior who was invading lands and who was extracting jizya from other communities, and that is the kind of,
you called it a jihadi type of Islam.
Yes.
Now, jihadi type of Islam, which was created when Banu Umayyah was there, then they started, invading so many countries.
Right.
Not with the point of going like missionary of the Tasawwuf. Ajmer came here to India. He came lonely, man. The Khaja Ajmeri came lonely. He never came with a sword.
Yes, absolutely.
1,000 strong around him, irrespective of any religion.
Yes.
They thought it is a symbol of love.
And they still visit Ajmer Sharif.
Muhammad bin Qasim came with a sword.
Yes.
To save India.
Yes.
When Muhammad bin Qasim came, he came during the period of that same Banu Umayyah.
Yes.
He came during the period of Banu Umayyah.
Yes.
And when these people came, missionary came, it was 13th or 14th century. It was the back, emergence of the Tasawwuf in Islam.
Yes.
Now, you cannot call those, Ziaul Haq also was calling himself that I am a Muslim. Ziaul Haq never called himself I am a non-Muslim. He called every Kashmiri non-Muslim. He called every Kashmiri, he called you, he called me, he called everybody, every clergy in Kashmir.
Talk about the Pakistani Prime Minister.
Pakistani Prime Minister.
If he thinks that we're all non-Muslims.
He said they're all non-Muslims. They don't know Islam.
Just because we're into Sufism.
Because they respect Bulbul Shah. Yes. They respect Shah Hamdan.
Yes.
They respect Sheikhul Alam.
Yes.
Then
these are our spiritual leaders rather than the radical.
The Masguls were sent by same thought Zialaki thought.
Yes.
And the whipping was there.
Yes.
Radical Islam. Now, during that, under Operation Topak,
yes,
some streams have come to Kashmir. Now they call themselves, now they call even Jafri threat.
Yes.
They call the Hanafi threat.
Yes.
Hanafi is a Sufi.
Sufi. Yes.
Hanafi, Sufi is one. Tasawwuf.
Yes.
Jafri also believes in Tasawwuf.
Yes.
They call them, while as they themselves, while from they have emerged, how they came.
They're not the original.
They worship Aurangzeb.
Yes.
They call Aurangzeb a hero.
Yes.
While as we say, hero was Dara Shikoh.
Yes.
Dara Shikoh brought the Mohi Muqaddas here in Dargah.
Yes.
The Aurangzeb was telling kufr. Don't allow this hair of Prophet to Kashmir.
Because
no,
according to Aurangzeb. So
Aurangzeb was saving those white caps, skull caps.
Yeah.
It was not, he was earning out of it, no.
Then
Aurangzeb was making white caps. Those heads which will wear his cap
will not be beheaded. Will not be beheaded.
And those white caps and white cap became itself Zakir Naik Islam.
Yes.
Zakir Naik, who says Yazid will go to Jannat in record. He says Darood, he pays Darood to Yazid. We don't, Hanafis don't, Jafris don't, even Shafis don't, even Hanbalis don't.
Yes.
All streams are one. Only these new streams.
Yes.
Where from Taliban has emerged. Tell me.
The radical thought process of Islam.
In this school, it is made in India.
Yes.
It was a school which is made in India.
Yeah. So, your foundation has worked extensively to spread the word of Sufism around the world, like filming documentaries and, there's a Darud Khwani, which is a spiritual meditation. You've organized that. You've organized Sufi concerts and so many things. But do you think that's enough? Don't you think that this sort of hijacking of Islam that you just explained, the hijacking of Tasawwuf, the hijacking of real Islam that is being done by the radicals, something needs to be done to tackle that as well?
I tell you one thing, Yana, you are young, you are new. You belong to our future generation. I feel happy you have such a knowledge. I really got impressed because I have seen here these journalists also. They also were lured to the radical Islam,
yes,
majority of them, and became spokesmen of the radical Islam.
Yes.
Unfortunately, not before 90, right, after 90,
yes,
mostly that. They made the Tsar by Masgul Katibay. Means even if Masgul has burnt the Char Sharif,
but yeah,
no problem. It is no problem.
It's not.
But for us, Masgul is the precious. Who is burning the this? And I think there should be. Through you, I take the opportunity. There should be a thorough investigation. How and which forces, which political forces also went Char Sharif to hail Masgul and took him on shoulders and took the procession. Who was burning one by one our Sufi shrines? And which police official brought him out of the cordon? Out of the cordon,
so that he escaped
in a fire brigade vehicle. And was he given double promotion for saving the Masgul? Who was destroyer of the Sufi shrines?
Yeah.
So don't you feel there was a contradiction in the establishment in itself?
Yes, absolutely.
Establishment,
yes,
Zalaki had his own plan,
yes,
to give 1,000 carts to India.
Yes.
Always, I think, source of Sufiyat has been our India. Yes. It has been always so. We should be our Makhdoom Sahab.
Yes.
Our Makhdoom Sahab preferred India.
Yes.
Spiritually preferred India. He sent they talk of Maharaja's accession and all. Spiritual accession was done by Makhdoom Sahab himself.
Yes.
When he called Akbar.
Yes.
And Akbar was a Sufi.
Yes.
Akbar was not Aurangzeb.
Okay.
Now there are Hindu radicals.
Yes.
Sometimes
yes,
I should be very, very frank and very candid to you. Some Hindu radicals, they treat Akbar same and Aurangzeb same.
Yes.
As if Aurangzeb is the same. Who have hurt the Hindus or killed Hindus. Aurangzeb did it.
Yes, but Akbar was an exception.
But not Akbar, even Dara Shikoh was the exception.
Yes.
Nobody at present, nobody is coming to say Parimal here. Parimal was the first Sufi, this center of Dara Shikoh here.
It was a Sufi center.
It was a Sufi center.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that it's quite surprising that when you do visit the Pari Mahal in Kashmir, you won't be told that it was a Sufi center. What you would be told is that it's just a place that the Mughal queens used to visit and take walks and things like that.
No, it was not that. It was a Sufi center.
Yes, so that is how the Sufi culture, they're trying to hide it. They're trying to fight it, and from your words, what I also figured out is that what you're saying is that radical Islamists are not just on the ground creating mayhem and breaking law and order. They're also sitting in the government, on the positions. They're also in our police force.
Positions.
They're also in our police force.
They have been in police. I have seen it as a bureaucrat. 9 March 2012. I went to the Dasgir Sahib shrine in Saribal. Hari Singh has straight inside. There are 2 Dasgir Sahab's relics. One is at Khanyar. That Khanyar shrine is presently under BJP Waqf. Another shrine is of this which is not under BJP Waqf is there Saribal. 9th March, I have myself gone to show the relic. I was invited by the management because of my contribution in this surviving when I built a Bulbul Shah and all.
Yes.
So people and I have written a lot of books,
Yes.
hundreds of books and literature. I am 24/7 on it because some mystic has come to me. So that is a separate chapter. Now, when I went there, when I came out, there was a burst of shower of bullets on me, which is in record. Which is in record.
And you survived that.
That is the blessing
Of Allah.
first Allah.
Of Almighty Allah.
Then the Zgirsa. My PSO was critical at the time, later on is calmed. So it is some, why those forces
Very overwhelming.
were, not only I am telling you through you are this, maximum people have been killed from 1990. 1990, noted. Maximum maybe around 20,000 to 25,000 people who have been killed in Kashmir Valley are by those radical forces who were having the power, were maximum Hanafi Sufi, maximum. Their number is, only political parties were what they were doing for their getting the vote mileage or patronage, would write their names in their registers. But they were maximum those who were being thrown out from the mosques because mosques were forcibly taken over by those
radical Islamists.
Ziyawaki whipping. Even there was a whip. I know there is a Rusu in Badgaon. A man who was one of the religious man was holding the whip, and with his whip, one 9 years old girl was whipped and she died. She died because she had a hair out of out of the dupatta hijab. So once it came in the notice of that radical clergy of that Rusu area, and go and have a research on it. They were there. They were there. They were establishing for them. This is because they know they would install their own political regimes, and they installed.
So
they installed political regimes, but they ensured that we change the religious demography, and they tried to. Today they are really surprised, so they have failed. Today majority is coming back to tasawwuf.
Yes, absolutely.
What is this?
Absolutely. So what I'm figuring from your answer is that, like in the police force and like in government departments, there are a lot of these radical Islamists sitting at political positions in India as well. Coming back to the present world, sir, the Indian government proposes the UCC, the Uniform Civil Code. It's a countermeasure to contain clashes, between different communities. Now, that would also include Sufis and radical Islamists in Kashmir. So do you think that the UCC, it's not still completely, the final draft is not ready yet, but do you think a clause needs to be added for protection of Sufism? Do you think UCC would be the answer for protection of not just Sufism, but also Shaivism, which is also under threat? The Kashmiri Hindus had an exodus, a mass exodus from Kashmir because of that, because even they are looked upon as imminent threats to radical Islam. So do you think the UCC will be a solution to this?
See, the biggest solution, like when you called UCC Uniform Civil Code, Uniform Civil Code is always subject to Uniform Collective Democracy, UCD,
Uniform Collective Democracy. So UCD. Yeah, I've heard you quoting. You quoted a saying about UCD on various news channels. So can you explain what that is?
I will explain.
Yeah.
And it's a question mark to all those who are trying still to be, silent on certain things, not to talk about that. But why should not? When you talk of a democracy, democracy means in 1947, there was an accord. And accord was signed by Maharaja, who was the role. What was the map which was part of the accord? The map was not up to Uri. Map was not up to certain places where there is a Titwal and not beyond that. But was not about up to the Haput.
It also includes POK.
It includes the up to Durand line.
Yes, up to Durand.
Which is the Afghanistan border.
Yeah.
It was our border. Kashmir Pass, which is the Kashgar Pass. The Silk Route, which is our spiritual route. Our Bubul Sahib came from Silk Route.
Silk Route, yes.
He brought those silk here in Kashmir, and then we surpassed even China.
Right.
Kashmir is not an ordinary place.
Yeah.
Don't treat Kashmir an ordinary place. Now, when it was a map in totality,
right?
Why when they were escaping, and there were a few urchins, you call these tribals,
right?
Why they were given leverage to consolidate in other part? Why they were given leverage when we were marching ahead, when there was no army from other side?
Right.
There was no army. There was no war. It was urchins have entered in Jammu Kashmir
and usurped the land.
And usurped the land. And they were also of the Second World War. You know, those leftover soldiers and all. Who were they? There's a big mystery. Who were they? Who killed Shirvani is also a big mystery.
Yes.
Was it an internal conspiracy? Because Shirvani was of a view of UCD.
Okay. The Sherwani he's referring to is Mr. Maqbool Sherwani. He gave up his life trying to save India from the raiders, the Kabali raiders who entered Kashmir from the Pakistan side. But it's still a mystery who these raiders were. Yeah. Like you're saying, yes.
It is. Point is, everybody was clear. Everybody in Jammu and Kashmir was clear. Because I told you from very beginning, we were part of India from the Akbar's time. It was a united India.
Yes.
It was natural to be part.
Yes.
It was natural. Maharaja only signed that.
Yes.
It was natural to be the part.
Yes.
When it was natural to be the part, who engineered the division of Kashmir?
Yes.
And our 25 seats are there.
And
predominantly they are Jaffrey.
Yes.
Like Baltistan.
Yes.
Is a Jaffrey. Hunza is a Jaffrey.
Yes.
Gilgit is a Jaffrey.
Yes.
And then the rest, Muzaffarabad and other
Hanfis. Yes.
Now, was it to facilitate some families to take over power of a half of Kashmir?
Yes.
And another big point I am revealing through you earlier also I have revealed. There was a treasure of 9 trunks.
Of the Maharaja?
They were not of the Maharaja. It was Mohiti, was a devotee of the shrines, Sufi shrines.
I see.
He had come through Dumail in 1937, 10 years before 47. Now, in 1937, he came with 9 trunks to donate it to
Sufi shrines.
Because a Waqf was at that time being people's,
a trust. Kind of like
it was the people. So it was to the people.
Yes.
And it was precious Basra jewels were there. Like one jewel might be of even 20 billion, 30 billion this time. And the blue, sapphire jewelry was there. I can send you the photographs also of those trunks.
Yes, please do.
Those jewelry also, because they were in Toshakhana. It's not. I'm not telling in the air.
Yes, yes.
I'm not telling in the air.
It was in the Sufi treasury.
It was supposed to be there.
In the Waqf treasury.
But a conspiracy happened in Dumail. They were, seized by some forces, and then Maharaja forces came in, and those all 9 trunks, as a matter of trust, were put in the Maharaja's treasure, called Toshakhana.
But it belonged to the shrine.
But it belonged to the shrine. It belonged to the shrine.
And the people were aware that it's with the Maharaja.
People were aware. Everybody was aware. So it remains with Toshakhana. And Maharaja was the ruler.
Yes, but when he had
to... He was not under a democracy.
Right.
He was a monarch. He was a monarch. It was a British territory.
Right.
It was a British territory. Now, at that time, he put it in the Toshakhana. But there were the forces.
Yes, I was
political forces.
What happened when he escaped?
Political forces who were mostly inclined towards Stalin and towards Russia. They would give the lal salams.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
you call it a red salam.
Yes.
And then even they named
The lal
chowk as a red chowk.
square, yeah.
Red square.
Yes.
So they had guns before even Indian army came here. Who gave them guns? See the photograph.
Yes.
In Lal Square, people holding 303s.
Right.
Kashmiris.
Right.
Who were they? So they had a patronage of the
Russians.
Russians patronage. So they were the big force. In 1952, there was a Nehru and Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah accord called Delhi Agreement.
Yes.
Delhi Agreement. Delhi Agreement is silent about 25 seats of
The POK.
Like they should be filled here.
Now, what happened about the
Now,
treasure in Maharaja's?
Maharaja treasure has evaporated like anything. One thing is that there in when those, I think this might be one of the policies. Those who were tribals, have those tribals come to loot that treasure also, because there is a record when Maharaja left Srinagar, he left in his, he himself drove the vehicle on 25th of October,
Right.
1947. He put 1 or 2 trunks in that
Okay.
because he was he had to leave.
Yes.
And what was the precious there?
Yes.
The precious was those trunks.
Trunks.
So he took, and there was a person on the right side of the Maharaja was a Russian advisor working in J&K.
Okay.
They say he was disguising himself sometimes as German, sometimes he was disguising himself sometimes as French, and sometimes as the Russian. Okay, you can find it records who was there. So they left there. Then it came in the government, which here local government was there. There is record. 2 trunks have gone to that person who signed the Delhi Agreement into the Trimurti. Trimurti, 2 trunks have gone. It is in the record. Have anybody searched those Toshakhana treasure? Why is that? And what is its relation with the tribal attack? And what is its relation with the this POK seats where remain silent? So majority, which you called it a majority view, like Hanfi would have the majority. Ours are divided there.
Right.
Jaffrey would say we are in the majority.
Yeah.
So
But
they have been divided there.
Yeah.
So it has been engineered.
Right.
But today in the parliament in 1994, Parliament of India has reserved these 25 seats to for the assembly.
Right.
Reserved.
Right.
Now this time a bill is being framed, which is connected with UCC also and POK seats also. Now Pandits are being given seat. Hindu Sharnarthis, refugees who have left in 1947 are right. So because you cannot deprive a human of a voting right and representation right. Give them, if they are giving them 3, give them 5.
Right. Right.
Give them 2 more.
Right.
5. But fill them simultaneously.
Right.
And it will one way embrace across the border those radical forces
Right.
who have created a illegal assembly there.
Right.
How that assembly you are justifying by not filling the Baltistan seat here?
Right.
It means you are helping them. And in the interest of, if present establishment says we believe the Mukherjee's theory of one flag and one, and they have implemented it.
Right.
But they should not be afraid of filling all the 25 seats
Right.
and nominating the person.
Right.
So that Yana Mir is being nominated to represent the Muzaffarabad. Let me represent the Muzaffarabad in my constitutional assembly. Here.
I get it. I get your point.
Which is this.
So
it
I
will
get your
help.
point.
And then UCC can be decided by the majority together.
Absolutely. So Mr. Renzushah here is trying to conclude by saying that the UCC should be framed by the majority, and one way to end the Kashmir dispute would be to ensure that voting rights of POK in the Indian democracy should be a part of the plan, and also investigations must be done that how Islam is being weaponized and used as a reason to actually loot the resources of Kashmir. Am I right?
Yes, correct. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and thank you to your viewers for watching us, and please tune in, keep tuning in for other shows from Kashmir 360 Degrees.